We are live again, and it is on Sunday. So it has been 7 whole days since we have gone live. Some goods, bads. Goods is we've been learning and educating, getting the experience. The bads is we haven't actually made money off the experience because even though the thesis was correct, the playing out was incorrect. And I'd like to be able to highlight those and take notes at the same time. Also, take some accountability and move forward from there. Yesterday night, the New York Knicks won an NBA championship, first time in a generation, 53 years in the making. So that's super cool. I'm very happy about that. Let me charge this phone. The market just opened 2 minutes ago, and then 15 minutes ago, our president said that there was a ceasefire agreement that was reached and everything is pushing up. Kind of obvious even beforehand. I opened up a 600K position and a 100K hedge and still ended up not being able to capitalize on this move. Very unfortunate, and I will share why today. So the screen is being shared now. This is interesting, this line here that was drawn. This double bottom, it makes sense. We kind of were able to visualize this topping pattern and down. This could be a mechanical bounce and kind of pushing to the underside here. I would love to purchase if it does come down to here, but it looks like at this moment everything is super bullish. We're fully allocated into the stock market, which is fantastic. But we really messed up that 600K position. Here, let's kind of walk through what happened. Hype was a huge position. I had 200,000 in here. We still currently have 75K in there. The biggest mistake that I made was I was trying to hedge. I tried to get cute with it. After about 4 hours into it, I said, okay, we're up 4,000. I'm going to take half off. So that would have been 300K position. Then I put $100,000 short on Zcash because I was thinking, hey, if the market does end up going down, which after Friday's close, it was starting to come downwards. That kind of scared me. So I ended up shorting Zcash at the bottom. And then it found that like this, we got to go hour by hour. I think I shorted it around, it would have been Friday. So here, 409. It kind of touched bottom a couple of times. And then each time I had the opportunity to close the short, but I figured if I was long, super long on the other side with silver, with Hype, with Solana, with Ethereum, I'd be fine just holding a Zcash short. Then I kept the Zcash short open while closing some more longs. So ultimately we were net long still, but most of the long was silver, and that doesn't move too much, which was a learning experience. I think that's a good learning experience here. Silver, what is it? Commodities is silver, gold, commodities really don't move a lot. So it's not meant for trading most of the time. This could be good for hedging. It could be good for getting, what do you call that? Getting funding. So if the market is net negative on it, like if it's negative funding and you just kind of want to hold silver for a long time, you can collect tens to hundreds of dollars per hour just by providing liquidity to the market. But it's very stable. So the fact that we have 100K in there and it's only made like $2,200, that's not really helpful because we have a $100,000 short position in Zcash, which is down like $12,000 now, and our Hype position, which is doing very well, it used to be a it was previously a $200,000 position, but it ended up being a 75K, and it's just not covering it. So we're net down overall. And I think that's the thing is like you have to be directional with decision making and take the risk. Because realistically, we started the week with 21K in the account. It went up to like 28 4 times throughout the day. Then I got scared after the market closed because it kept coming down. It was like low liquidity, and it turned out to be correct to stay within the market. You can call the ceasefire peace treaty 15 minutes before the market open manipulation, which it is, but it was kind of like fundamentally there already. If you look at the chart, we were bouncing off this support. Someone was really buying this area, not letting price to get down below it. So that's worth holding on to and potentially even losing your money on. And it's funny because ironically, the next time I do that, like buy a big long position, hopefully it does it like support holds. Support's probably not going to hold. I'll lose all the fucking money, which is unfortunate that happens. But I think if you do this enough times, and if we got liquidated 21K, for example, like we'd right now be up minus the hype. Yeah, we'd be up like 30 at this moment. Just that market open, we'd be up like 30K. It's worth it, I guess, if you think about it from a risk reward perspective. If you do it 5 times and it works 5 times, but it doesn't work. It works 4 times, but it doesn't work on the last time. You would have made 30K times 4, 120, but then you would lose 21K one time, right? Because it has to not work at some point. You keep doing it, and then it's just most of the time it does work. So you subtract the 21K that you lose ultimately at the end, and then you end up with profit of 99K. That's worth it. That's on average 20%. So you would have quadrupled your you would have made 5 times on your bankroll. Right? I think that's really important to notice because like I was scared and all the excuses start coming out. It's always like the emotion comes, fear, and then you start to rationalize that emotion with reasons. Let me record this. Actually, I haven't recorded. Would I be speaking differently if I knew I was recording? I don't know. Anyways, it's now recording. We weren't recording for the last 8 minutes. But what I was saying here was you base your rationalizations on the emotion. So the emotion that I had Friday after the close was fear, and it was uncertainty, and I started getting doubt. So FUD. And then what happened was I used that feeling and I started to come up with reasons why this wasn't going to work. So reasoning, bad reasoning. I was trying to protect the portfolio. I was sad that I could have made $7,000 3 times throughout the day and I didn't take profit. I rationalized it by saying, hey, I can't look at these positions while I sleep. And the position was too big. So those were the reasons that I listed out, which I would like the transcript to catch. And there was more. And like I kind of made an emotional decision to stray away from original plan. So I closed 50% of it. In the profit, mind you, but it was not part of the plan. So 500K turned into 600K, turned into 300K. And then the market continued to go down after hours. So it's like more fear, more FUD, right? And then what that ended up doing was I made a hedged with the most logical, this in parentheses, logical. And the reason why logical is in parentheses is because what I believe might not necessarily be what's true, or what's true might not necessarily be what is going to reflect in the market, right? Because the market reflects liquidity. So if it's a logical move that shorting, what happened? If shorting Zcash is the logical move, it means a lot of people would have come to that designation. So if many people shorted Zcash because, fundamentally it's broken and it came down already, so this is just the bounce, so it probably is going to fall further than the other cryptos if cryptos are to be bad, which was my reasoning, then liquidity-wise, market makers want to push it up, which it did actually fare better than the other coins. So by shorting it, it actually ended up being a detriment, right? So that fear made me have fear logic, and most people psychologically are thinking the same thing. A chart is a reflection of the psychology of the masses. So most of the liquidity was probably on the short side. So that further hurt me, right? Now we're 2 layers deep into the FUD emotional thought process. So I hedged with 100K short on Zcash, which was terrible on Zcash. Which there's a moral to the story. So I did that, and then finally, when now I'm not fearful anymore, and then therefore I don't think about it much, and that is very important, because when you're over leveraged, when you are concerned, when you're fearful, your brain ends up being focused on whatever it is, right? If you're on a roller coaster and you're online to get on the roller, you're not even sitting on the roller coaster yet, it'll be fixated on how scary it's going to be, and you can't really think of anything else. Same thing here, where if I have these big positions open and I'm fearful and I care a lot, then throughout the day, it's just that's the only thing I can think about. So by doing all of this, by having this FUD reasoning and then making moves and then finally like doing more things with the hedge, that takes the fear away, which is like an autonomous response that now I feel fine. Like I can move on with my day now. But in reality, I took way more risk than if I had just left all of it open, right? Either way, like let's say Zcash doubles from here and then hype doesn't really do as much. So then we end up getting liquidated on the short side with Zcash anyways. And that would be it, right? So had I not been fearful, not had bad reasoning, whatever, then I would get liquidated on the long side if it doesn't work out. But really, that was the original thesis. So you kind of have to let it play out, right? You're still risking the same 21,000, and you want to play it out the original way, not with all the strange way. So in reality, like let's think about it, right? The way to play this is to do the opposite. Like understanding that this work, like the whole thought process here, if you could observe this psychology and not partake in it and understand that that's happening, then you can play it effectively. Um, so what's the opposite here? You'll like there's one obviously pretty clear path, right? Is you open up position and then you kind of let it play through. You either do that by not over leveraging, so you just don't play more than your means, or B, you take away the fear, right? Understand that this is part of your system or your plan, and then you go. That's the simple method. Now, if you want to get layers deep, because we went 2 layers deep into the FUD, right? It can go 3, 4, 5, 6, and then where you double down, and then you re-leverage, and then you revenge trade. There's like many different layers that I've personally experienced that traders go through all the time, right? So the best way to avoid all of this is to stop it right in the beginning. Don't forget about the bad reasoning. Forget about the fear. Take the risk, and then live with the result, right? Or don't. Wait it out and observe. But yes, I like that we're able to highlight these 2-layer deep fear mechanisms that cause this. And I'd like to go 3, 4, 6, 7, 9 layers deep in the future, because that will help to really win in the market. You do the opposite of what this FUD is. Like, I think that is actually a breakthrough, is understanding FUD, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. If you have a firm grasp of where the origin is and where it can end up, that would make you a great trader. Okay, so we highlighted the 2 ways to basically ignore the FUD, right? Execution. The more nuanced way, the other way that is another level higher, would be to take your original thesis, which is I believe that there's a fundamental thing that happened here. I'm going to put big money into it. I'm going to risk X amount, right? And then naturally you kind of get some of the fear that you can push away. And what you do from there is something. Let's think. Yeah, no, that's not that. Like, simply, that's what it is. What I was able to accomplish this once or twice over the last year that I'm about to say now, and it's actually very. Each time that I had taken this strategy, I ended up enjoying this trading, right? But it's whenever I did it, it was kind of like playing around. It wasn't like, all right, let's put it all in there now, which I would try to do this time, and I kind of fell into the same trap. Maybe because I was not really focused. So again, this is very important that I'm able to speak this aloud, because the next time, like, hopefully I'm in more of a trading phase in my life, and I will be able to continually sharpen that steel, which makes this strategy that I'm about to highlight super fun. So what I've realized across the last 8 years or so is there's these bounce cycles, right? Right now we're kind of in this bounce after a huge dump. And you really want to be buying these liquidations, which is pretty obvious, right? We did that, but we didn't, but whatever. Like, we have to be able to highlight which gigantic play to take. So during these phases where altcoins and everything's going to bounce as well, what you want to do is basically pour your capital in there. This time around, I poured the 500K. And what you want to be able to do is peel back and just don't buy new positions, don't hedge or anything. Just take pieces as we go up. So down here on the 10th, right? This is kind of the bottom. What if we were able to get into certain positions here? Not like all of them, but not in our entire position sizing, but it kind of came up to here, and that's where I end up buying, right? This would be considered the meat of the move. There was still more meat to this move. And what you really like at this point, I was kind of highlighting this to Wilson too, is like, you know, I put up 500K, and I like kind of telling people what I'm doing so it could hold me accountable a little bit more. And I'm working on the full execution on that, right? Through this, oh man, what did I just do? Reality is you have to be able to take your stand, make your play, live with the consequence. And so down here, when we were fully allocated 500-600K, I told him, hey, once we make 20K, then I'll cut the position in half, right? Boom. That's what we would have made 30. So I would have cut the position in half now. And then if it comes back to break even, then we would have gave back 15K, right? We would have made 15 there. And in like an extreme scenario, or like a more typical scenario, is we take the profit at 20 and then we give back 10, right? Worst case scenario. And you know, Dr. Profit has kind of said we could end up in the 66K area. And I actually believe that, like 66, maybe right here, we can top out after Monday or Tuesday. We have rate cuts that are scheduled on the 17th. And so it's probably going to be crazy. Monday is going to be an up day. Tuesday is going to be even more up day. And then maybe it'll pull back closer to 4 p.m. And then Wednesday, goodbye, right? Like reverse everything. And this ends up playing out. I could totally see that happening. It's good to be able to hit the charts. I think it's going to be very helpful for us to be able to hit the charts over like at least 3 hours each day for the next 3 days, if we're going to be able to capitalize on any gigantic play, which at this point, I believe the gigantic play might be to the downside. Like I said, we're fully allocated in the stock market right now, and I would like to start to take some money off and potentially be completely out by the time Wednesday comes around. But yeah, let's look at the S&P. And then I might keep this pretty quick of a live stream just because I want to be able to do some other things in my life. But this was important. Take a look at this. Actually, we have a fractal on this one. I don't know why it's not here, but we drew out a potential scenario back in what day was this? Last month, 30 days ago. We drew out a potential scenario where we can come up and then drift down, right, to hit this area. We did hit this area. That's important. We hit the area that we drew out. It just took longer. We thought that we would hit it by the end of May, which at that point, I believe it was because at the end of May, it was supposed to be bearish or something, like a bearish turn. We have the new moon, which is bullish nowadays. It kind of did do that. And then on this full moon cycle is where we kind of got the correction. This is a 5% correction, which is huge. But anyways, this fractal didn't play out exactly, but it did end up hitting that price target. So interesting on that. Let's see how this looks. It's interesting also that the shape of it is similar with it's like a 3 strike. It strikes down 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then a reversal. This looks extremely bullish on the stock side of things. See that? It actually cut through all of these resistance zones. Every time I've seen that in the recent times, it's been very bullish. So I'm going to note this. If it falls under this horizontal ray that I'm about to put an alert on, then that's very bearish, I suppose, because you want to stay above it. BSR flip on S&P above equals bullish, below very bearish. All right, I want to see what's going to happen over there. Oh gosh, let's just make it happen once per bar, I suppose. Wow, that's loud. Okay, yeah, maybe I think it maybe even kind of give it back tomorrow or the next day, and we can float down lower. But look at the similarities between this fractal and what's actually happening, right? We got this 3-piece move, 1, 2, 3 here, or like 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3, and it's kind of fitting, with the third being the lowest. Maybe it looks more like something like this. Yeah, who knows? I can't be all the way bullish now. Peace is nice. It's definitely going to spark the markets. Definitely manipulation. And we had our first rate cut this year. This week. So let's be tentative here and keep watching out on the charts. I did a pretty good job with clearing out these alerts. So starting on Monday, I have something to do at 10 a.m. I forgot exactly what it was, but I think it's the gym. After that, though, we will be able to clock into trading, charting, things like that. I'm just going to write that down for tomorrow. And then we need to block out 3 hours here. Trading. Got a couple main work things to tackle, but that's about it. And today, since it's Sunday, I'm going to take it easy and tackle some of the self-work stuff that I had planned. If anything else comes up, I will definitely note it. May or may not stream on Monday. It makes sense if I just kind of jump on. PURR. Last chart. I'm going to look at this last chart. Look at this holding. Wow. Hype is going to go up to the moon. I have no doubt about it. Zcash, I had no idea it was going to do this crazy move. But yeah, let's highlight exactly what we did right with PUR and what we didn't. We mapped out 2 potential areas of topping, which was this zone here. It actually ended up hitting it perfectly. We received the alert, and we didn't follow the alert. This is like perfect. It's math. And then it also followed this entire line. It found support here. It kind of dipped under a little bit, but it found support in this parabolic line. So I'm very bullish on hype going straight to the moon and being worth billions and billions of dollars. Robo strategy is a new one that I'm adding to the list. I had an article that I sent the website to Wilson last month, and I actually didn't do any research myself, but I thought it was like pre-release. They didn't release yet, but they actually are been IPO'd for the year. And man, this thing has gone up heavily. I don't think I would have put anything more than 10K into it, so I'm not too sad. But Yeah, we'll visit bot in a second. I want to. That's also. I'm probably gonna all in per, all in bot. Crypto related things throughout the rest of my lifetime and sail off into the sunset. Buy some calls, buy some puts, and sell calls when I have a lot of shares. And that's it. That's basically gonna be my life. That's my goal. Okay. Note that on the transcript. My goal is to do exactly what I just said in the last couple of sentences. But yeah, look how we played per. We saw it at $12, but we were super euphoric. We didn't open up TradingView. We ignored the alerts that I saw on my phone. I'm very stupid. I was supposed to be able to hold myself accountable, but we did some ridiculous stuff. This was also probably $10,000 that we fumbled here, but we're still good. We actually came down. As it came down yesterday on Friday, I doubled down on it. So we're looking at some pretty good profits. It's going to open higher again, probably closer to 10, depending on what happens to Hype, because Hype looking delicious right now. Hype USD. Yeah, it's higher than it was on Friday. So you can believe that, like, this was Friday's. You can believe that we're going to end up quite a bit higher on PURR. And so let's see if the math works out again. We're going to do this right here up on stream. It should not be difficult. Oh wait, this is a downward move, parabolic down move. We don't want to do that. The next potential move is right here. It's just math. It'll follow this Fibonacci sequence because math works. Like, I can see it going and topping out again close to 12 at the 786. That's a very typical pattern. But if we're gonna go, like, let's really see. It's probably gonna open up here. I don't want to go too intricate. So let's say it does find some sort of top, a double top here, comes down, breaks up higher, and then whatever happens in the market. And then this, it might take some more time. It might take a lot of time, matter of fact. But we're looking at this parabola kind of trying to play out. And, this is on the 1 hour. So we're looking at, this is just total of a month. This parabola can resolve in about a month. And I'm not mad at that, because once it kind of cracks, I don't want to be taking profits. I'll take profits up here, try to buy back down here. But if it cracks below this line, right here, then I'm probably good to go. Like, I could sell and get out of it forever, because we just broke the parabola, and it would have to, like, if it ends up breaking this line here, it's like it would have to flow back up like that. The area that I'd want to buy is probably here for per. What is this? Oh, I was buying toothbrushes. Yeah, that's why our alert is here. We like that. And if we can get anywhere in the fives, I think that's super worth buying. It's extreme discount. But yes, I would probably buy calls down here. Per calls, obviously. And noting all these things are important. And here goes Zcash trying to liquidate me again. Son of a bitch. These are important to put these alerts and stuff, but it's so much, like, this is 20% of the work. 80% of it is the execution part. We're getting better at it. We're getting there. We just have to focus more, put more time into it, and put less time into other things. Just like, it could be so simple. The goal here, here's another thing to summarize for Otter. The goal here is to put very little time in and make maximum output. Little time, max out. And the way to do that is to have high conviction plays and place your bet, take the risk, let it play out. It's to identify leverage times and time the market in the way where it is appropriate to use leverage. That's it. And then finally, it's to take action and give it more time than you originally planned, because many times it'll take more time. As long as you're still in the game and you're not liquidated, it's worth just letting it ride. There's a caveat to that for fundamental changes, but you know what? You're better off, I think, taking the risk and not trying to guess that you were wrong. Let the market prove that you were wrong instead. This could be all fun and games, very fun, enjoyable. As far as a work, an occupation, which is trading and investing, we're getting there. I think we have the theory down and we have the process down. So we're going to the gym, we're exercising, and now it's like, the training's there. You got to do a match, get into a match and win. Yeah. Yeah. And there's like theory wins, and then there's like losing, right? Like we have theory win over the weekend here, but the fact that we hedged it means we didn't execute appropriately. But holy crap. Let's see. Who's this guy? So what is going on with? Oh, that happened? No, I don't get it. Something happened to this chart thing. But yeah, Hyperliquid doing quite well. It's pushing up. Zcash, man. Like, it actually doesn't look that impressive, to be honest. Hype looks better, actually. But is it because it just hasn't updated? It clearly just hasn't updated. Zcash. You got to find a different chart. Bitstamp. That's the updated chart. And for whatever reason, Bitstamp just recently put Zcash up. Where Binance has the best chart. Man, look at that push. Yeah, where's the fractal? I want to see that fractal, because I pulled the Bitcoin fractal here, and yeah, it could come back up to easily, like, where would we want to see a pullback if we are, right? Probably less. It's going to be under 500. Anything over 500 is going to be pretty strong. So this area here, maybe, I would hope. Like, this is actually nice too, but that's like 500 even. That might actually end up being it, because there's like so many shorts in this market. But yeah, if we end up somewhere here, right, and then have this long-term or medium-term at least bottoming, that's very Bitcoin-like. And that's actually what happened to Zcash only half a year ago. So the Zcash cycle is a lot faster than what Bitcoin had to go through in 2018. This would end up just being like 3 months. It's not bad at all, man. But this would be a dream. You get it from down here. It's gonna be a top 10. Zcash ends up being a top 10 coin over time. You buy it down here when it's a top 25. You're gonna go in like 8 and 10x, undoubtedly. But I did want to see the liquidation chart. Which one? All right, we got. Yeah, this one's nice. We didn't look at the rainbow trends, but looking good. We're starting to see some blue candles, which indicate some sort of potential top. I like that. No purples or pinks. No purples or pinks yet. But yeah, there's a pivot up here, and at 500, yuck, it really might end up hitting 500. But this is a difficult area to get by as well, right? Right here. We most likely do, and then reverse. I could see that. I could totally see that. There. But yeah, I mean, as far as shorts go, liquidations, not a huge amount. There's more on the downside than on the upside. We took out some, and this at 247 held very well. Let's see if there's any other ones in different time frames. I don't know exactly how it calculates that. It should be the same on every time frame, I think. That's my thought. I had another thought. I miss Infinicore. I miss the work that we put into it and the strategy and all that. I've been feeling a little lost since then. So hopefully whatever I get to create here ends up filling that hole. But yeah, here's this. And then we got this area here, which, man, it looks like we're going to go for it. Honestly. Not a lot of longs to get taken out. Yeah. Yeah. No one's really buying this thing, huh? It might just keep going up then. That's not cool. No one's actually buying this thing. These already got taken out. So we come back up and swing back down. And 505 seems like the appropriate pivot, which I don't like. Not a fan. I remember this when this happened. I was watching that. This cost me some cash. Yeah, you know what? This kind of reminds me of Beat also. Let's take a look at what happened with Beat. I'm going to pull up this fractal and see if it matches anything on Beat, which we actually ended up calling the top on over the last weekend. It's down 50% since we shorted that. We didn't do it with size, but yeah, 50. Bang, on the nail. It's printing whites now. Beat. Here's Beat. Was it Beat or River? I think it was River. Beat was awesome though. We called the top on that perfectly. Wow. This was a long time ago. Yeah, I was thinking more River than Beat because this is what happened there. Man, did we surpass that? Yeah, we surpassed that. Insane move on Beat. Good job if you caught that one. Ultra scam coin. All right, what happened here? So let's just shrink this down a size. Shrinky shrink. All right. And then boom. Wow, it still needs to get shrunk a bit. I like messing with fractals because it gives you an idea of a concept, right? Charts, the reason why charting works is because charts tend to look similar. Psychology is always the same with like euphoria, fear, greed, liquidity, demand, and supply. So manipulation. So that's why I like to use them as ideas. So what are we looking at? Zcash? Is this Zcash? Yeah, this is the dump off of Zcash, right? What happened here? Tag. Well, I don't think we're looking at Beat, first of all, but yeah, I mean, it looks kind of similar in a sense. This more was a parabola that broke. So we take a look at this parabola here, kind of like what we're looking at on Per. It's like a weird parabola. I don't like it. It is higher lows. It's a higher lows each time, which is good. It is higher lows each time. what did I do? Um, yeah, this is a different type of pattern. So you got this. What do you call this? A wedge, something sort of rising wedge, and those typically resolve down. Yeah, it's not this. Tap each side higher. This is most likely going to be a top here. You can maybe assume that this was a top. A lot of people got blown out here. Once this kind of happens, you can assume that it's pretty close. And yeah, this is where we shorted. I remember shorting this exactly on a dot, and we printed like thousands of dollars in 15 minutes on my way out of the house. That was pretty awesome, pretty cool actually. It turned out to be like the ultimate top. But we're not looking at beat. We're looking at river. This was in February. Oh man, river. What is this? I think we have some writing. We got some drawing on this one. Yeah. Oh, what is this arrow going up? Am I dumb? I'll shorten this thing, and then like when it finally turned, I guess I tried to long it a little bit. We really we got fucked up on this one pretty bad. But yes, let's see what I was referring to when I was looking at Zcash and said it looked like River. Oh yes, so yeah, with River, there was a moment. It was right here. Was it right here or March? Oh yeah, February into March. It was right when we popped out of 12 up to 16, right? Yep. From like 14 to 16. That reminded me of when we came up right here. This was like 480 up to 500, I believe. I believe that's exactly where we are. And then that's when I texted Wilson like, hey, I think we're close to the top. It was like around this price. And we ended up topping shortly after that. From a price perspective, it wasn't too bad. But yes, this initial pop, that was, you see all the buying. This is a TWAP structure that finally kind of, I guess, liquidated the shorts and they accumulated. This was distribution for sure. And the final distribution here kind of brought us below this demand zone. And the fact that we're kind of holding, we literally are holding above this area, that seems quite bullish. Now, we're literally at this zone. So if we come back down, it's a wrap. But yeah, this $500 zone, this is like 508 right here. It popped straight into 630. What was it, 550? That was very strong. Now, it is important to note though that we had to find support again down here. And that's going to end up being resistance. I really hope that that's going to be resistance. But yeah, so like similarly, that happened here from 1450 up to 16. This is the middle of the day. It was nighttime, 3 a.m. I remember this. I just like lost 12 G's in like 2 seconds. It was bad. It was very bad. It was a very tough, dark time. Like we were trying to get to here. It's just same thing with the stock market. You kind of try to short it, and when you finally do, you're not doing it with size. Plus, you took some lumps here already, so we didn't end up panning out that well on River. Plus, like I wasn't able to. I don't know how I would have reacted if all I did was trade. Right? Maybe I would look at it 15 minutes a day, see if is it finally the top yet, and then hit it hard. Or maybe I'll miss it anyways. Like I'm not sure, so I don't want to blame the fact that I wasn't watching on it. It was a contributing factor for sure. Being distracted is no good, especially when you're messing around with a lot of money on something that's like big on timing. Anyways, I really do see the similarities here, right? So like this pop-up area and then the down area. I'm gonna I think let's move this here, and then wait, we gotta elongate it a bit, but that's basically what I'm looking at here. If you really think about it with me, right? We move this here, and so there's that initial demand. It comes and retests, right? Then it comes back up for 2 more strikes and then drops. Pretty cut and dry. It's an open and closed case. Yeah, let me make it work a little bit better. So it starts here, right? It starts here, comes down. I kind of want to match these 2 areas. That's why. It comes back to this demand zone. There. It comes back to this demand zone. Then it starts to creep up, finds some sort of resistance. This is supply. And then comes back down, comes back up to supply again. This is a very clear cut and dry, like, bye-bye, we're done. Like, this was never going to do this, even without the news. It just happened to, like, the news made it so tragical. But, same deal. You find some supply, and then it doesn't work. And, like, supply outpaces demand. And then we get this final move, this third final move, and it's officially done completely, right? And look at the stage we're at now. Here, I'm going to even drag this a little bit more. What if I drag it all the way out? All the way out, all the way out. Like here. This might be the stage where we're at. So I'm going to drag it a little bit more. This is interesting because this is like basically almost a one-to-one. Like, pricing is going to be different, whatever. But it's basically a one-to-one here because we're looking at, let's start from the beginning. We got big demand. I was able to, in person, watch how this transpired. It was kind of like buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure, gasket blew, and then boom, right? And then what happens next? It pushes into this demand zone and completely deflates, right? Into support, which is exactly what happened here as well. This is River. This is Zcash. 2 different coins. One of them is a scam. The other one, is it a scam? Who knows? Who knows which one is the scam? Which ones are the scam, right? So we come back into supply, into demand, like a sharp comeback into demand, this is a huge Hasaka play, right? This demand, even if you were to go back up to the previous supply zone, is an 85% move. Huge. And I don't know what this is because we don't have the pricing. I don't know if it's a 23% move or not, but it's actually like this would be the play. You take this and that's it. Let's say you jam $1 million into this demand zone here, and you scalp your 20%. That's it. You don't even have to partake into any of these. But yeah, let's kind of really highlight this because I want to take a screenshot after. This is interesting to me because it seems to be rhyming. This here is Impulse. This here. This one. Is Retrace. Demand. This one is supply, retest, and then final. Right. So at every given point here, let's just copy these over. It's the same thing. You got the impulse. You got the demand. Gosh. Why is it doing that? Okay, so we'll just draw like that. And you have here the supply, first supply, and then the retest of the supply is right here. And then you got the final right there. Done. Right? Things move in threes. It happens so frequently. So keep that in mind that everything tends to move in threes. So this is nice. This is nice. So we got the impulse, which is confirmed by my own eyes. This retrace confirmed by price at this pivot, which is super nice. Going into supply for the first time, dropping, right? Dropping. And then retesting. This was an equal retest. Pretty weak, honestly. Tons of supply here. Dropping again. Dropping again. Taking some time to actually get enough demand to get that final impulse. We call this the final impulse, which is very weak on Zcash. Very, 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 very weak. You could probably start shorting it right here at this area. This did not drop 40%. This dropped like, what was it? From 600 to 250. And then so like we have this final impulse here. We have this final impulse on River. River is way more straightforward. It just kind of came all the way down, like staircase. This was news oriented. I guess even this is easier to catch because you get the news. You see all of these scenarios and you go, all right, it's final impulse anyway. I'm going to short it big. And then you kind of get an immediate payoff. Whereas with River, you can be scared that, oh my gosh, it just came up 35%. Maybe keep going again. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, final impulse down. And where we're at now is what I'm curious about, is because when we printed some whites on River and then we impulsed up into this demand zone, which would be here, which would be roughly this would be like roughly 480 or something, very close. We might be very close to this top. And then what'll happen is it'll just drift off and into purgatory for however long, and whoever knows. But this is Zcash. This is not River. It just follows a very similar structure. So we got a lesson here today, which is freaking awesome. And I'm going to put this on the Hall of Fame, the Wall of Fame. Like, we don't even need to know the price here. All we have to do is understand the movement of the price. There. Yeah, so this move took from impulse to top, this took about 19 days. That's not unlike what happened with Zcash, right? I want to replay what Zcash did. Can I save this? I'm gonna publish this. It's awesome. Oh, you can record now too. That's great. Wall of Fame #1. Zcash River Rhythm. Love how the 3 impulse into dramatic drop happens regardless of news. This is neutral. We're gonna make it public because why not? Choose up to 3 categories. This would be chart patterns. It would, I think it's technical indicators as well, but whatever. It can't include invite only scripts. That's annoying. Whatever. We just publish it privately then. Why do we have a Discord when we have this? This is freaking amazing. Yeah, what happened? We go into our own trade ideas. Oh, we got a bunch. What's up? That's fun. Yeah, I think we're gonna probably use this more. We gotta use this more, huh? I'll just leave that there. Okay. Yeah, still, I would like to add this to the Discord because I'm sure this is a TA gem. It's also maybe it's a trading lesson. Yeah. This is Hasaka moves. So if I ever search for Hasaka, I'll end up getting this. But yeah, I want to go back into Zcash and see, because this one took about 19 days. Let's see how long it took for Zcash, because I kind of closed it up a little bit. I tightened the structure. With shitcoins, they're gonna move quick, so you gotta be nimble with it. With something like Zcash, which is more respectable of a coin with more liquidity and players, it'll take longer. Zcash USD. Let's see if that's actually true. Let's find the impulse. Let's find the impulse, which was right here. Yep, 460 into 550, and all the way to the top. That took a month. That's slightly longer. Man, beautiful, just beautiful display. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna close this out and fix this chart. It has a 200 EMA. Which is kind of cool. I guess it looks like kind of cool. There's no candles on here. That's not what I meant to do, though. Did I delete it? I think I may have deleted the candles. Main indicator. Oh, there you are. There you are. Yes, cool. There's just a lot going on here. I'm gonna, once I get a consorted style, I won't use as much colorful things. There's just a lot here right now. Still, we're getting by with it, and I'm happy with the progress. Let's go Knicks for the whole year. The best basketball team in the world, and Jalen Brunson is the best Knick to ever play on the best basketball team in the world currently. Times are good for us. Let's go.